Fine. Good afternoon, all. So today we'll see about the Excel VBA. So where we'll see how do we do the programming constructs.
Yeah.
So generally, when I talk about a programming construct, it just says when you're writing a program. So generally, we know that program flow goes from the top to bottom. Now you want to define a flow, when the program is flowing in the top to bottom, you want to put a condition, and you want to execute some statement based on a certain condition. Okay. So that is, we have our conditional statements like if with else, or else if, or you can also go with the nested ifs. Apart from that, we'll also study about iterative constructs where you can execute the statements for multiple number of times. Fine.
Yeah.
So yeah. So when you talk about a conditional structure, so that is, you want to execute some statements based on a certain given condition. So we use a conditional structure. Okay, it says the decision making allows a programmers to control the execution flow of a script or one of the section of the scripts. The execution is governed by one or more conditional statements. The following is a general form of typical decision making structure found in most of the programming language. What I mean to say is, so generally when you've written the program, so it executes line by line, the first line, second line, third line, so every line by line. So now what I want to do is, when the program flow is going, I just want to apply some kind of a condition. So generally when you talk about a condition will be a logical condition. So where the output of that condition will be a logical output, either true or false. Now,
Right.
if it is true, I want to execute some statements. Okay, so I just say what is that it has to execute. If it is not true, okay, might be I want to write another set of statements and then I want to continue the program. Okay, or if it is not true directly, I want to come to out, or if it is not true, I want to write another set of statements here. If it is false, what it is. So that is where exactly we use the conditional statements. Now in VBA, if you are writing a conditional statements, okay, we have this particular different conditional statement that we write in VBA. We have one such is your if statement. We do, okay. An if statement consists of Boolean expression followed by one or more statement. That means we'll have a if, a logical condition, and that will be followed with a group of statements. Apart from that, we do also have a if and else. That means here, if the condition is satisfied, it executes some statement. If the condition is not satisfied, so the statement will not be executed. It just terminates the program. Now I say if the condition is true, I want to execute one set of statement. If the condition is not true, then I want to execute another statement. That is where we use the if with else. Okay, if the condition is true, the statement which is followed immediately with if will be executed. If it is not true, okay, the statement which is followed with else will be executed. So that is where we use a if else. So we can use only if, or we can use it if with else. So now there might be a situation where I want to check with many conditions. So that means if the condition is not met, I don't want to say else. So I want to write another check. If the condition is not met, then I want to go for the second check. If that is also not met, then I want to go for the third check. So that means for us saying this one, I want to have multiple checks. So in that case, we go with the if with else if. So that means, so if the condition is true, the statement gets executed. If the condition is not true, else if will be providing another condition. Okay, and this condition will execute if only if this condition is not met. So like that, it can have multiple else ifs. Okay, so that is there. Apart from that, we do also have something called as a select statement. A select statement allows a variable to be tested for equality against a list of values. So that means you want a particular variable to be compared with a different list of values. Okay, we use a select statement. Okay,
Right.
we will get into practically of how do we do this particular if with else and so on. Okay, so now let us come back to our Excel. Let me open an Excel file. let us do one thing here. I'll just try to work on this particular if and else. So let us have some data. So I just want to have some kind of a marks data. Fine. So I'll just say as a different subject. Okay. And I just say I have 6 different subjects. And let us have some random marks here. I just have some random marks. Let me find the total of it. So the total is equal to sum of all this. And let me also have an average. Average of this particular range of data. Good. I got the total. I got the average. Now I want to find the result. I want to find the result. Now to find the result, what is that we do is, if the average is above 40, we say pass. If not, I want to say fail. Okay, fine. So that is where I'll use it. We'll see how do we write. That means here I need to write as pass or fail. I want to do it through the VBA code. Okay. So first we'll try to understand how do we write this particular VBA code. So let me get into the code window. I'll just go to the developer. I'll just go to the code window. I'll just include a module. So to write this particular code. Okay. And then I'll just write one new subroutine. I say sub. I just say if else. This is a procedure to calculate the if. Now in this if demo, so what I will do is I'll just say first I need to capture what is the marks in this particular which cell you want to compare. So I want to compare this particular cell, no, that is in the B10. The cell name is B10, is it? First let me capture what is the mark, average marks. So I just say dim, I just say average marks as, yeah, so it might be double. Fine. I just declaring this particular variable here, and then okay, so I just say avg, so average marks as double, and then I just say avg is equal to I just say range of b10 dot value. What this will do, first I have declared a variable, okay, to store the average marks. Then I'm trying to read the average marks, so which is actually there in this particular cell, range of b10 dot value. Whatever is the value is there in this cell, I'm capturing into this variable. After I capture this particular value, so what will I do? Now I need to check what is the value of this average. Okay, for checking this, I will just use a if. Okay, I'll just say average is greater than or equal to 40, then I say it as, okay, then I want to say something. So what is that I want to say? I want to write in this particular cell as pass. So what is the name of this cell? B11. Okay, so I'll just say range of B11 dot value is equal to say pass. Okay, so now what it does is, if the average is above 40, so it writes pass in this particular B11. So let us end here. Okay, I just use the end if. See, the syntax of if goes something like this in your VBA. If is a keyword, if will be followed with a logical test. Okay, logical test means a logical condition where the output is going to be a logical output, either true or false. And that will be followed with again a keyword called as then. If a logical test, then, and then will have a collection of statements. It can be a single statement or it can be a group of statements. And the if will be closing with the end if. So if will have a closing with the end if a logical test and then a colon. If you look into, if you have come from, since we have come from Python, no? So we use the if and the condition we give in the bracket, and we use a colon and then we write a statement. Here we don't write a colon. Okay, so we use a then keyword instead of colon. The other thing is, whatever the statement you give, we give with a tab space, but here it is not a mandatory. So, but for the readability, you can use a tab space. That's it. But if will have a closing with end if. Clear?
Yeah.
Now, Okay. So now what I will do is I'll try to run this particular program. Let us see how it happens. So when I run this, you can see it says pass. Okay. Okay. Now let us do one thing. Let us give some marks like this. Yeah. So now it is not a passing marks. Okay. I want to run this particular program. So if I try to run this program now you can see what is happening. I am hitting on this particular thing, but nothing is displayed here. Okay, nothing is happening. So that means here the program is coming till here and checking this condition. That means it has even got the value from B10. So now what is the value? It is 38.6. Fine. And then it is trying to check whether 38 is greater than 40. No. Okay, since it is false, so this statement is not been executed. That is the reason it is blank. Okay, so if this value is more than 40, so what happens is, okay, when I run this, the condition is met, so it is trying to print there as pass. Okay.
Yeah.
So next thing is, okay, yeah, if it is above 40, I want to say pass. If it is not above 40, instead of being idle, I want it to say, oh, sorry, it's fail. I wanted to say it's fail. Fine. In that case, what I will do is, so we'll use a if with a else part. So else part is written something like this. So else is written between the if and if. Okay, else cannot be given independently. Else is given if the condition is not met. If the if condition is not met, and then case the else part will be executed. So if will be inside the if and sorry, else will be inside the if and else. So here, okay, blindly I'll just say if this is not met, so there is no other go. I'll just say it as fail. So here I'll just say range of 11 dot value is equal to fail. So now you can see when I run this, it says pass. So I just say something. So now if I try to say something, so it will say as fail. Got it? So this is an example of if with else. If, okay, we have a logical test. If the test is true, what is that we want to do? If it is not true, what is that we want to do? Okay. So now, see, like, if can be followed with a single or multiple statement. So example, I want to give multiple statements. What is that statement I want to give? Oh, if it is pass, I want to show in green color. If it is fail, I want to show the text in a red color. So in that case, what I will do, I'll just say the same thing, the range of B10 dot value, sorry, not value, dot interior dot color is equal to say VB green. Okay, and the same thing, I'll just say if it is not more than 40, then I say color is VB red. So now when I try to run this particular program, you can see it is fail. It shows in red color telling the text as fail. Now, if it is good marks, so in that case, what it does, it shows pass and changes the color to red. Got it?
Yeah.
Any questions?
No.
Okay. The next thing is,
I'll just make a note of it, sir.
Oh, okay, okay, fine. You can make a note. Okay. The next thing is we'll see about how do you use if with else if. Okay. So according to the slides, we just supposed to see with this. So we have understood about this. So there is no else. If the condition is true, a set of statement will execute. If that condition is not true, the if statements will not be executed. So here is that is going to have two statements in the if. One statement, if it is true, what has to be executed. Other statement, if it is false, what has to be executed. Now the same way we do also have something called as if with else if. So here is I want to check with multiple criteria, multiple conditions. Like take an example, instead of just telling as pass or fail, I just want to check the average marks. If the average marks is about 80, I want to say, okay, distinction. Above 60, I want to say is first class. Above 50, I want to say second class. I want to put multiple criteria, multiple this one. So in that case, so we that means the same value I want to check with multiple comparisons. Okay. So in that case, we'll go with the if else if demo. Okay. I'll just create a new subroutine. I'll just say sub if else if. Okay. If you remember, there you used elif. Here it is else if.
Yeah.
So now I think I'll use the same thing. First, I'm declaring a variable and then trying to capture what is the value of that particular variable. Okay, we have just got this particular average marks. So now I want to check if, okay, I just say average is greater than or equal to 80. First, I'll check whether average is above 80. I just say then, and I will have a closing with, okay, so then we'll have a statement for it. Okay, so now what I'll do is, if the average is above 80, then I want to print in this particular cell F11. Okay, so what is that you want to print? So I want to print as your passed in distinction. Okay, and I say I want to give a color, might be a green is okay. Sure. So now what I'm doing here is, so instead of checking whether it is more than 40, I'm checking whether it is above 80. So I'm telling if it is above 80, okay, then I say it is you're passed in the distinction. I'm changing the color to, oh sorry, we'll say it as green. Fine. Okay. So now what I want is, if it is not above 80, I don't want to say you're fail. I don't want to say you have passed. If it is not, if it is above 80, it says distinction. If it is not above 80, in that case, I want to check whether this particular average is at least greater than 60. So in that case, what I'll do, I'll write a else if. Else if, what is that? I just want to check average is greater than or equal to 60. If it is not above 80, then I'll check whether at least the average is above 60. If it is above 60, then, okay, I'll just say this as range of, I want to write this in B11, no? I just say B11 dot value is equal to, I just want to say first class. Fine. And then I want to have a color for this. So what kind of color we can give? So we can try to have a little lighter green color. So I can use RGB, no? Red, I'll say 0. Green, I just say instead of 250, I'll say something like 150. And then I will say blue, I don't want that. Okay, I've just given some color and I have done this. So now in this case, what happens? First, it checks whether the average value is above 80. If it is above 80, it does this and directly comes out of the end if. Okay. If it is not above 80, then it goes and checks whether it is at least above 60. If it is above 60, it does this. Fine. But we are not checked for the other things. The same way I need to check for the less than, greater than 50, greater than 60. So that means if the value is not more than 60, then I'll just say else if average is greater than or equal to say 50. If it is above 50, then what is that you want to do? So I just want to say a range of B11 dot value is equal to, I just want to say second class. Okay, and then I just want to give this particular interior color. So I just further reduce the greenish. So I'll make it as 100. Okay, the same way. Now, if it is above 50, you're telling to say this. Now, if I say if it is not above 50, then I'll check whether it is at least above 40. If it is not above 50, I check whether it is above 40. If it is above 40, okay, I just want to say you've done, passed in the past class. And I'll just try to include some amount of reddish color in the 50. Yeah. Now, Say example, here we are trying to say if average is above 80, do this. If not, okay, if this is not satisfied, so see what happens here is if any of the conditions satisfied, the statement will execute and it comes out. If this condition is not satisfied, that means if the marks is not more than 80, only then case goes and checks whether it is at least greater than 60. If it is above 60, it prints this and just comes out without going to the other else ifs. If it is not above 60, then this condition is dissatisfied, then it goes checks whether this condition is satisfied. If this also is not satisfied, then it checks whether this is getting satisfied. If this also is not satisfied, we can have a else. That means if it's not scored more than 40, I don't want to do any kind of a check. I just want to say you're failed. So I just want to give it as red color. Full red. Okay, so now let us run this program. So it says pass in this color. Second class. You can see first class. You pass in the description. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I just say it as 200. Yeah, fine. Something like this we use this one. If with else if. So that means it checks. Okay, it goes from the top down. So it checks whether this condition is satisfied. If this is satisfied, the statement will be executed. If this is not satisfied, then it goes and checks here. If this is satisfied, the statement will be executed. If it is not satisfied, then. So that means at any point of time, so only one statement will execute. So else is like I have not done any kind of check. If it is not satisfying any of the statements, I don't want to do a further check. I just want to close this particular program. Okay. So this is with the if
I have to write these two lines in the same line, like range of B11 value is equal to distinction. In the same line, if I have to write range of B11 interior dot color, can I put a comma and continue?
No, it's a two different lines.
No.
You have to put in a different line. So
No, if at all I put it in a single line, would it still run?
no.
I just put a space and keep writing?
No.
No,
It is expecting the end of this, and that again is a start.
So enter is considered an end for the line.
Yeah, and for it's the new line again. You're making a note, is it?
I am done making the note.
One second.
Next thing is we'll see about how to use a select statement. Okay. It says a select statement allows a variable to be tested for equality against a list of values. Okay. So here what happens, we look for the exact matching. See, something like, in the case of else if or if, we use a relational operator. But in the case of the select statement, we look for the exact matching value. So again, you can do a multiple comparison. So like how you use a multiple condition in the if and else, the same way here also you'll be using a multiple condition. But here you cannot use a relational operator. You'll be looking for the exact match. Okay. For that, we use something called as a select case. So we'll just see like how do we write a select case. So let me get into the code. So I'll just create a new subroutine. Okay. I'll create a new subroutine for writing the select case. I just say as sub. Okay. So now I want to compare this particular result. What exactly is the result? Now what I want to do is, see, I have generated the result based on the average. Fine. Now based on the result, I want to give a kind of a grading. Okay. So if it is a distinction, then I want to say he's A grade. If it is first class, I want to say B grade or C grade and so on. So in that case, so I have used this particular, what do you say, select case. See, what I have done here is I have declared one variable result as a string. That means I want to capture the result. Before I was working based on the average marks, but now I am working based on the result what is being generated. So based on this result, I'm trying to calculate. So now the thing is, so I have
In Excel we use this as what?
which one?
Sorry. In Excel, I think we use this for something. No, for switch, is it? No.
Yeah,
Something
switch. Yes, say we
Switch,
use the same
right.
thing. Switch. Yes, we used
Yeah,
a switch
yeah.
there. So here it is a select in VBA.
Okay.
Okay. So now what it does is I'm trying to capture this particular distinction. Okay. So that is nothing but a string value. So that is the reason I have declared one string. Okay. The result as a string, and then I say result is equal to range of B10 dot value. So that means whatever the value is there in this particular cell B10, I just want to capture that. So in my case, it is B11. Is it? So I just want to capture whatever the value is in B11. I just want to capture that. So that this result is stored in this particular variable. Now I want to check what is the value of the result. So you can see here I'm using a select case result. That means I'm going to compare with this variable value result. Whatever the value is there in the result, I'm trying to compare. So for comparing, what we do is we say case distinction. That means if the value of this variable is matching to this particular value, say distinction, then what is that you want to do? So if it is matching to distinction, then I want to print in this particular cell B12. So that means this cell is B12. I want to print in this particular cell B12 that a grade is A. Okay, A grade. So I just say this is grade. Okay, so if that means I want to print if the case value, that means if the result value is matching to a distinction, then I want to print A. If it is not matching to distinction, then what I do is I try to check whether at least this value of this variable is first class. That means if the value of B11, imagine, is first class, in that case, that value we have captured over here in this variable. Okay, so it has a value as first class. So now I say if the case value is the first class, then I just say range of B12 dot value. That means in this particular cell B12, I want to write the value as B grade. Okay, if not, if the value of this variable is matching to second class, then I just want to write as C grade. If it is not matching to the second class, then we check whether it is at least matching to a pass class. If it is matching to a pass class, I want to say D. If it is not matching to any of this value, we have a case else. That means if it is not matching to any of the value, so here in the case of case else, I have not given any matching condition. Okay,
Yeah.
Directly I say in the cell B12, I have to print the result as E or F. E, no? Or F.
E.
E, okay. Some places they say F and they say E or what. So now if I try to run this particular code, so you can see it says A. So that means first what it is doing, it is capturing what is the result into this variable, and then trying to check whether it is satisfying with any of the cases. Whichever the case it gets satisfied.
Actually, there's no E. There should be error actually.
Less than 14, it is not
It
passed.
should either be distinction, first class, second class, pass.
Okay, so we can do something like this.
No,
so
in the program.
Yeah, I got it. So we can say case as fail. So we can have a case as fail. In the case of fail case, okay, so I'll just say range of B12 dot value. It has to show this. Okay, if it is not matching to this also, that means it is other than fail. That means if the user has typed something, or if it is empty cell or something, in that case, okay, invalid result.
Yeah.
So that means it was not satisfying to any of this value. We can just say what is the alternate value has to be executed. So if it is fail also, we are writing the gradient. Okay. So again, like a if and else if, at any point of time, only one case will be executed. Only one case scenario will be executed. If this is satisfied, the remaining statement gets executed, it just comes out. If this is not matched, then it goes in the top-down approach. Okay, so it says which case is getting evaluated. If it is matching to this particular thing, okay, it just prints this and comes out. If it is not matching to any of this, so this case will be executed. If it is not matching to any of the case, if any of the case gets executed, it just executes this and just comes out of the end select. That is how the select case works.
Right. One minute.
Yep. Fine. Here I have just used make use of if to add a new worksheet. Okay. See, in the previous session we have seen how do we add a new worksheet. So if you want to add a new worksheet, what we generally do, we just say worksheets.add to add a new worksheet. Fine. So now when you're adding a worksheet, there's a lot of constraints. Okay, when you add a new worksheet and then you want to name a worksheet. So you give some name, okay, new worksheet gets added with that name. Just imagine it happens like sometimes you run that particular macro twice, or you have clicked it twice, or you have invoked it twice. So what happens, the sheet is already added with that name and you're trying to add another new sheet with the same name. So this will not be allowed. Your macro will break. Okay, your code will break. Now, how do we handle this particular code? So I have written some programs to handle this particular code, this kind of a scenarios using the if. Okay, the first thing is, okay, I have used the same if to add a new worksheet using the 7 different ways. The first thing is I'm trying to add a new worksheet. When I hit on this, you can just see what happens. Okay, a new worksheet is being added. So if I want to see the code of this, I'll just get into the code, just right click. So we just say assign macro and I say edit. This will take me to the code. So where in this case, what I have done here is I have just written a simple code to add a new worksheet. That's it. Okay, it is adding a new worksheet. And if you want to pass a message telling that, okay, worksheet has been added, so this is fine. Okay, so we have just seen how do we add a new worksheet. Now, what I want to do is, see in this case, I've just added a new worksheet and just passing a message telling that a new worksheet has been added. Okay, so now I want to have a message box which will just prompt, are you sure you want to add a new worksheet? Okay, and you want to give you want to even know what is the name that you have given for that particular worksheet. So for that, what I have done here is I have declared this variable dim sheet as worksheet. So this particular variable will try to, okay, is of type worksheet. So if you remember, I had discussed telling that worksheet is the object of the worksheets class. Yeah. So that means we are creating the object of this particular class called as a worksheet. Okay. So now this object, when I talk about the object can store all the information about the worksheet. So it might be the name of the worksheet. Okay. It might be the, what is the kind of a tab color you're giving for the worksheet. Any information can be stored. So I have just declared that particular variable, and then, okay, then I just say set this particular variable is equal to worksheet.add. Now what happens is here, this is going to add a new worksheet, and whatever the new worksheet is added, that information will be captured into this particular variable, which is of type worksheet object. Yeah. So it will add a new worksheet, and that worksheet's information will be captured into this variable. So that is where we are telling that set this particular variable is equal to worksheets.add. That is a newly added worksheet information will be there. So now what I want to get is I want to know what was the name of that particular worksheet. Okay. So that for that I'm trying to pass a message telling that a new worksheet has been added. So now you can see in your message box. Now, if you want to display we have some lengthy message and you want to display that message in the multiple line. So we can use this particular method, VB control left. That means whatever the data is following after this, shift it to the new line. Okay. And it says a new sheet is been added, and it says the name of the sheet. See, either you can use it as control F or you can use a break using the underscore. Okay. Then here you can see I'm trying to get what was the name of the sheet. Fine. So I'm not giving a name, but it is generating automatically. I'm trying to read what was the name given for it. So when I hit on this particular macro, so you can see a new sheet is being added, and the name of the sheet is sheet 2, and it says a new worksheet has been added, and the sheet name is sheet 2. Okay, so whatever the sheet was added, we are able to capture that particular name. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for that, I declared a variable of type worksheet, and then I just set this particular variable is equal to add a new worksheet. So then using this particular variable, I could get the name. So I can get the complete information about the new worksheet, newly added worksheets. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing is, now we are trying to make use of that. Till now, we just saw how do we add a worksheet, how do we get the name of that particular worksheet. Now in this particular example, what I have done here is, I have declared one variable called as VB message box result. Okay, I have declared a variable called as VB message box result. That means this variable is going to hold the result of the message box. So now in the message box, you can respond it as okay or yes, no, cancel, any this one. So whatever, how the user has responded, I'm trying to hold that. So for that, I'm just declaring a when variable. Now I say response is equal to message box. Do you want to add a new worksheet? I'm asking the user, do you really want to add a new worksheet? There is a question mark in that particular, there is the icon, and you can see I have created 3 buttons on that. So that is in the message box, it is going to have 3 buttons there. So what are the 3 buttons? VB, S, no. Okay, S and no. Sorry, 2 buttons are there. So that is the user is going to say, yeah, really I want to create it. It shows no means I'm not interested in creating. So now we need to know how the user has responded, whether he said yes or he said no. Now here you can see we say if response is equal to VB no. That means if the user has responded as no, now this particular variable will get the value as VB no. If the user has responded as yes, then this variable will get the value as okay yes. So now what we are trying to do in this particular case is we are telling if response is equal to VB no. If the response was like telling no, then you give a message box telling that sorry you have clicked no, so no sheet will be added. Okay, since you have clicked no, I just say since you have clicked no, no sheet has been added. Cool. I've just given this message. But if it is other than no is going to be VBS. Then I say okay, add a new worksheet. A new worksheet has been added. Okay, I'm just trying to give an icon on that. So now let us run this particular program and see what happens. So I'll just try to reduce the screen of this. Fine. So we can see parallel. It says, okay, do you want to add a new worksheet? Now you can see what is happening. It is prompting the user, do you want to add yes or no? Now let us click no. When I click on no, it says, oh, since you have clicked no, no sheet has been added. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. But if I try to run this now, and if I say yes, so what happens? A new worksheet has been added, and it gives a message telling that, oh, new worksheet has been added. Okay, so it's like, we are telling, okay, you click on add a new worksheet, and sometimes, it might happen like user has clicked on a button accidentally, and now you want to confirm, okay, what he has clicked. In that case, we use this particular message box. So to have a cross check, or I say to confirm it, some kind of a critical issues and all this thing, you want to cross check with the user again. Have you really wanted to click on these particular things, or accidentally it has been clicked? So that is where I'm just using this particular if. Okay. Okay. Now we'll go one step ahead further. Now, when you look into this one, here I have declared one variable called as message box result. So I'm asking the user, do you want to add a new worksheet? Okay. So which just says like, VB question mark S. That means again, it says VB S no is the button. Now, how he's going to respond? It says VB no, it says no worksheet has been added. If it is added, so it has been added. There is same. Is the same task what I was doing. Okay.
Yeah.
There is another way here. Now I want to add a worksheet with a custom name. I want to take the name from the user and then I want to generate a new worksheet.
Yeah.
Okay. So since here I want to take the name from the user. Okay. You can see here, I'm taking the help of the input box. With the help of the input box, we are trying to read the name of the user. What is the name of the sheet you want to have? Something like, yesterday we saw, we want to have a sheet with name as is a sales data or a HR data or a marketing data or a sales data for the month of April or something like that. Okay. So we are trying to prompt from the user. So for that, I have declared this 3 variables here. Str name, that is a string name. I have declared that is to hold the name. That is, we are going to ask the user enter the name for the sheet. That information I'll be storing into this one. So we have this response as a message box result. So here we are going to hold how the user has responded in the message box. And I say dim sheet as worksheet. Here, okay, this is like to hold the information of the newly added sheet. That is to know the name of that sheet, or you want to assign the name for that particular sheet. I have declared this variable. Fine. Now we are asking the user, do you want to add a new worksheet? So I'm asking the user, do you want to add a new worksheet? Now, if the user says, okay, he can respond as VB no, yes, or cancel. Either the thing he can respond it. Now, if the response is VBS, if the user says yes, okay, that means he really wants to add a new worksheet. Then we can see I'm again prompting him, telling that enter the name of the sheet that you want to give. Okay. So this, okay, once the user says yes, okay, we're not adding a sheet with that with the default worksheet.add. We are asking the user enter the name of the sheet.
Then we are adding the sheet.
Now in the input box, the user enters the name. So that is being captured in this particular variable str name. And then you can see we say set sheet is equal to worksheets.add. This is going to add a new worksheet, and that worksheet we are going to rename it. Sheet.name is equal to str name. So whatever the name the user has entered, so that will be assigned for the newly added worksheet. Okay, and I'm focusing on that particular sheet as an active sheet. Fine.
Yes.
Now, if the user says VB no, that means he has clicked, okay, when it has prompted, do you want to add a new worksheet? Now he has said no. So when he has said no, I say new worksheet with the default name has been added.
When he says no.
Yeah, when he says no, okay, that means do you want to add a new worksheet? So when he says no, okay, then what happens is, okay, I can say something like, do you want to add a new worksheet with a custom name?
Yeah.
So do you want to add a worksheet with a custom name? So if he says, no, I don't want to give a custom name, I want to go with the default name. So then he can click on no. When he says no, it will be added with the default name. Say example, we have sheet 1, 2, and 3. No, so next default sheet is going to be sheet 4, something like that.
Yes.
So now he is not clicking on S, he's not clicking on no. Other than that, what is that? So the other button he has is the cancel. If he has clicked on the cancel, I say exit sub. Exit sub means what happens? So you're writing this in the procedure, directly jumps to this. That means none of the code, this code will not be executed at all. So, or whatever the code is after this also will not be executed. It directly breaks the if. So in whichever the block, okay, and it directly, and again, it comes out of this particular thing.
Exit sub and it ends.
Exit sub means it comes out of the sub. Okay, it breaks the subroutine. So that means we are going to ask the user, do you want to add a new worksheet with a custom name? If he says yes, okay, we are telling, okay, what is the custom name you want? If he says no, we'll be generating with our own name. If he says cancel, it just comes out without adding a new worksheet.
Adding any new
So
worksheet.
now if I try
it
to
doesn't add, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't add when we say cancel.
If you say cancel, it will not add.
Okay.
It will not do anything. So now let us run this code. So if I try to run this particular code, you can see it is asking, do you want to add a new worksheet with a custom name? If I say cancel, so when you observe here, we have a sheet 1,
3,
sheet 2, 3, and thing. So if I say cancel, what happens? It just comes out without doing anything.
Sadiq, 1 second, I'll come. 1 second.
Now you can see when I set cancel, now the sheet has been added. Now
Yes.
let us rerun this particular code. Okay, it says,
Okay, yes.
do you want to add with a custom name? I say, no, I don't want to add a custom name, but I want to add a worksheet. What in that case, what I will do? I'll click on, that means I don't want to go with a custom name, but I want to add a worksheet. So in that case, I say no. So when I say no, a new worksheet with the default name is added. So that is your sheet 4 has been added. And you can see macro is finished. That is also happening here. Okay. In the previous case, this message also was not displayed. As soon as you said cancel, that means it went to this else. So it says exit sub, it directly came out of this. That means it broke the subroutine. Exit sub is okay, exiting out of the sub.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So now I say I want to add a worksheet with a custom name. If I say yes, then you can see there is an input box.
Sheet name, yeah.
Now I'll just say my name is Sadiq. Okay, and I'll just say okay. Macro has finished.
It
So
adds the name
with the name Sadiq has been added. Got it?
Yes, yes, very much.
Yes.
1 second. Yeah, just show me that from. I'll maybe take a writing will take time. I'll take a pic. Yeah, good, good. 1 second. No, no, up, a little up. Yes. Sub. This is for adding sheet. Yes. Yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah. Wait, I'll take this. Yeah, done. Yeah, I took this.
Now, I'm doing the same thing with the help of the case. Okay. So we studied about the select case. Select case is again, you want to evaluate with multiple values. Okay. I think. So now, again, do you want to add a worksheet with the timestamp? I'm asking the user, do you want to add a worksheet with the timestamp? Timestamp is, I want to add a worksheet with the current date and time. Okay, fine. So again, we are on this message box. I'm trying to have a buttons, 3 buttons in this: yes, no, and cancel. Fine. Now I have okay. Now you want to check what the user has responded. So we are trying to use the case. So before that, I have capturing how the user has responded into this particular variable called as response. So this response variable will hold the response of the message box ka result. Okay, response of the message box result. Then we are trying to say select case response. That means I'm calling this case. Okay, and the name of that is response. I say case is equal to VBS. That means if the user, okay, it will be S when if the user has responded as yes, the variable response will have the value as VBS. So then I say set sheet is equal to, so that means if the user has clicked on S, so I say worksheets dot add, and I'm, you know, this after what we did is after a particular this one. After sheets of sheet count. That means I want this sheet to be added in the very end. Okay, fine. Okay, you can just say even this one. Okay, not necessary. This also will add a new worksheet. The difference is this, wherever your cursor is there, it'll be just before that it will be added. See, it is Sadiq, so the new sheet will be added before Sadiq. Now, if I give the name like this, after sheets of sheet.count, so sheets.count will tell me how many sheets are there. So I'm telling it to add after the last sheet. Okay.
After the
So we are trying to do a little bit more things here. And then since the user said, okay, you want to add a worksheet with a timestamp. So I want to add a new worksheet with not with the default name. So this will add with the default name. So since sheet 4 was the last name, so next name is going to be sheet 5. So fine, let it be added, but I want that sheet to be renamed. So what I'm trying to do, so I say sheet.name is equal to, so sales is a static value there, concatenating with, okay, format now. Remember we have done this before.
Yes.
Okay, what is this? Now is a function which is current date and time. So format is, I'm trying to format this now. So where I'm trying to extract the month and the year, abbreviated month, the character ka month, and the 4 digit of the year. So example, for today, it is going to be as APR, sorry, that is the month is going to be APR
Four.
hyphen
Four.
2020. Fine. So that means your name, we are generating it something like sales hyphen APR hyphen 2020. Okay.
Yes.
So that means the user has said that, we are trying to say that and making that as an active sheet. That means retain the cursor on the same sheet. That's it. Now, if the user has responded as no, if the user has responded as no, then we just say worksheets.add. This is going to add a new worksheet, okay, with the default values. Okay, if it's not said as yes, nor he said as no, he said as cancel, in that case, we're just trying to say exit sum. Okay, so now if I try to run this, so it says, do you want to add a new worksheet with the timestamp? If I say cancel, we can see nothing is done.
Yeah.
Okay, if I say go with the default, if I say no, it will add with the default value. So you can see it is added in this location.
Yeah.
Okay, now if I say it as yes, so you can see it is added with a custom name again at the end.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
We can make a note of it.
Yes. Just I'll take a screenshot and make a note of it.